Hi, everybody. Bill Huddleston back alongside the coach, Watkins. Coach got my voice back, feeling good, but even feeling better after week number 9 or 10, final regular season game, out of the way with a shutout over Ponca City.
It was a good win for us, and we executed for the most part most of the game. We had some silly penalties in there that we've got to clean up, but otherwise, we did well on the turnover margins. We got one more plus. They had 2. We had the 1 turnover. Got on them early. Of course, getting Jamari back and having that play for him first thing, he set the tone. And I tell you, the thing that we've been talking about all year long too, that where I was really proud of, is our kickoff team has just been, we feel like dismal all year long. And we replaced and we put about 4 or 5 starters on there, and all except for the very last one where we'd replaced some of them again. Was outstanding on the night. On the 7 or 8 kickoffs that we had on the night, the only one was the very last one. And again, we had put some of the kids on there that wasn't. And I don't think they ever got out past the 26 on the other kickoffs. So that's one thing I was really proud of. Couldn't ask for more. And I know Coach Hill was excited because, his defense is starting off on the 25 instead of the 50 is a lot better deal for them. And so I was proud of those guys. Overall, district championship, we knew that was a good possibility if we won, and that we felt like Bixby would beat Sand Springs, but it was great for us to get that. I don't know that it really matters in the matchups whether we would have got Putnam City West or if we would get Stillwater like we have, but it's nice to be district champions for the kid. That was something, our playoff was our ultimate goal at the start of the year to get into the playoffs. District championship was a bonus, and now then we're looking for a first-round win, and we'll just go from there. But Stillwater's going to be an awfully tough opponent. I know what their record shows, but they have a great player that was out 3 of those games and actually even went out the other night in the game while they were ahead. So if he's in there, they're one of their quarterbacks, number 11. If he's in there, they're a great football team. If he's not, they're a good football team.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about the playoffs a little bit later on, but we're going to take a Friday night flashback and throw it back to last Friday night at Muskogee Creek Nation Field. It was senior night, and Coach, here's the video recap, and it couldn't start any better way than that first offensive snap, and like you said, it's Muskogee.
It's the first play we ran against McAllister, and we felt like it'd be open here too, and as you can see, Jamari, it's kind of out of focus right there because that was our tight copy, OQ, he threw a great pass there to Jamari, and we're glad to just get him back and get him settled in. And then here's another pass to Jamari that he's just open. And again, in these first 2, he's just so wide open. I didn't know if we felt like he was truly back because he just was on go routes. And I don't know if it'll show it in these highlights or not. But then the third quarter, whenever he hits a little bubble play and he takes it about 31 down their sideline, you saw his burst of energy. That's where I knew that his back. Here's Speedy,
Boy, Deontay Crutchfield, he is definitely speedy.
Just look at the breakaway. I mean, he's becoming a fine player for us. Next year, he's going to be a great player, but he's really doing some good things for us right now. Here's Jamari right here, where we knew that, he's just out there quick, and then he hits a burst right there, and that's what the old Jamari looked like right there. So I feel like his knee's healed. I felt a lot better after that play.
Still more of the offense from the fourth quarter.
Here's Cameron, again a little quick pass, and then he turns on the Jets, and it was good to see him get that. He'd struggled a little bit in the first half and dropped a ball that he knew he should have caught and dropped an interception. Q getting back in our Wildcat package, and he's starting to, you don't realize he's covering the area he does. He's just so dadgum big and strong. He's going to continue to be a big factor in our offense as well in the upcoming weeks. And it was good to see John Smith get him an interception here. He's struggled a little bit on the year, and so to be able to see that, really, really proud of him.
Some great individual efforts. Jacob with another great night throwing the ball, and for that he was awarded the rougher player of the game. But, Coach, I think you could have passed out a lot of game balls in that game last Friday night, especially to the seniors who played for their final regular season game, but it wasn't the last.
Right, and that's the good thing. And we knew that going in, that we were, barring a tragedy, we would at least be back to Indian Bowl with the seniors. We knew it was in the playoffs, but it's good that everything worked out the way it did, and we're the district champions. Getting to go back there this week again with a great Stillwater Pioneer team coming in.
Well, we're going to talk about Stillwater a little bit later on. When we come back, the guy that made his presence felt in that first play that you just saw, number 10, Jamari Davis. He'll be our guest as our rougher player profile when we continue here on TV 15. Welcome back here on TV 15. Bill Huddleston along with the coach of the Roughers, Watkins. And Coach, between us is a guy that has been chomping at the bit, so to speak, to get back out on the field. And finally, last Friday night, not only did he play, but he made his presence known play number one.
Well, we were all excited to get Jamari back. You know, he's our leading receiver from last year and is just an incredible young man. Got the unfortunate injury up there trying to prove his worth to Texas Tech and was able to come back. We've been wanting him back since about Bixby, and he thought he was, but he finally got his release. And last week, you know, it showed. We ran our Muskogee play that we ran the first play against McAllister this year, and as we figured he was wide open and got him a touchdown to start it off. And then on the night had 3 catches for 159 yards and a touchdown. And the first 2 he's so open I didn't know, you know, if it was the knee was healed or not, but then we threw him a little bubble on the outside over there, and he took it about 31 yards down their sideline, and that's when I knew that Jamari was back because he was the blur that we remember.
Exactly. It was great to have him back out in action as we move into the playoffs. It's even better to have a guy of not only this young man's abilities, but his want to, his desire, his inner character. And Jamari, how hard has it been for you to stand on the sideline and watch this season be played out, knowing that not only are you having to watch, but it's also your senior year?
It was killing me. I was waiting to get back out there. I was trying my best to get back out there. I was doing everything I could. I was in the weight room doing therapy, and the doctor wouldn't just release me. So then we figured out and I can get a second opinion. So when we did, I got the release.
Obviously, that made a difference. Now, I understand, too, that Katie Stout was kind of having to hold your helmet, keeping it away from you because you were trying to find it so you could sneak out there even in some of those earlier games.
Yeah. One day at practice, I snuck out there, and then I didn't know if the coach noticed me or not, and then I had to go back in. But it's just been a crazy ride, but I'm glad I'm back on the team now.
Now, last Friday night in the game against Ponca City, the first play was, as Coach called it, Muskogee, and you knew it was coming your way. When you went out there and you looked in the eyes of that opposing defensive back, were you kind of grinning knowing it was coming your way?
Yeah, I'm like just shaking my head. I'm about to score.
About to score. Not just catch the ball, Coach. He knew if he caught it, he was gone. Now, how big was that football coming down to you, and what were you thinking about as it came your way?
Don't drop it.
And that's the words that every receiver is going to give you is don't drop it, especially when you're as wide open as you guys. Now, what do you feel like is the real key for you having as much speed as you have? Because not only are you a blessed receiver, and like Coach said, you led all of 6A in receiving last year, but now one of the fastest guys in the state, too. What do you think about that?
No, I think it's good. I just use my skills wisely, and every time I go against my opponent, I try my best to be the best on the field. Now,
Coach mentioned you had a little incident during the summer, and that was during a kind of a college campus or a college scouting camp. What are your thoughts about college football and now that you're back out there?
I'm just going to play my best and continue to let colleges look at me and see that I still got what I had before I got hurt.
Now, I'm assuming, too, that you'd like to be able to show him a gold ball when the season's over, too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Exactly. He wears number 10, but he sure made a big difference in last Friday night's game, and I know Coach Watkins and the entire Rougher staff are glad to have number 10, Jamari Davis, back out on the field playing during the playoffs. When we come back, it'll be time to take a look at the postseason picture. That after this timeout on TV 15. Bill Huddleston back alongside head coach Rafe Watkins here on RougherTV, talking about all things Rougher football. And, Coach, it's been so long that many of the fans and certainly none of the players know what to expect this Friday night because, as you know, being a veteran of coaching football and playoff football, it's a whole different attitude. It's a whole different atmosphere when you're playing for a win or go home type situation.
It is. You know, your back's against the wall, and as you said, it's win or go home. And the notch of the level of play, even all the teams that's pick it up during this time. And that's what I've tried to get across to our kids, that it's just going to be a whole different atmosphere. You know, Stillwater sitting here, they got 4th in that district. They're 5-5, and a lot of people think that that's not very good. But you look at what they've done, and they win the first week against a 6A1 division team in Edmond Memorial, beat them handedly. They lose the second week to Moore, and then the third week, to me, the biggest win of all is against Mustang, and they beat them by, I think, 14 points. And then just last week, Mustang went up and took Union to the very end. And I think Union kicked a field goal at the end to beat them 20-17. So that was a huge win for them. But their good quarterback, number 11, he got hurt in that game, and they lose the next 3, their first 3 district ball games. They lose to Deer Creek. You know, people look at that. Deer Creek won 2 games all year long, and they're thinking, well, gosh, that don't look very good. But when you know that he was out because he had a hurt shoulder, for 3 weeks. Then they get him back and they win 3 straight games. They're ahead of Midwest City the other night in the final game in the third quarter, and he goes out again. And then all of a sudden Midwest City comes back and beats them. So I think the key for them, is you look there, they could very easily be 8-2 if that young man stays healthy all year long. And of course, we wouldn't be playing them. That'd have probably been either first or second in that district. But they're a very good team. Biggest thing is I've been coaching for 25 years and I've never seen a defense like what they do. They won't get guys down in the 2-point or 3-point stance. They're all standing up. It don't matter if it's their nose guard, their linebackers. There's 5 to 7 guys at any given time around the ball just walking around. And then at the snap, here they come. They all know their gaps, but you don't know where their gaps are. So you got to be very disciplined on our offensive line. It's one thing we worked at. It's something I was concerned with yesterday in practice, if we could simulate that defense. And I was really proud of our scout D yesterday, and Coach Heath did a good job of getting them there. And honestly, it's about as well, because everybody we've talked to, they said, if you can figure out what they're doing, congratulations, because we've played them for 4 quarters, we watched them on film, and I talked a lot in Midwest City, and they said at the end of the game we still had no idea what they were doing. But I was really proud of our young kids and how they were able to simulate that defense yesterday. Offensively, Coach Bernard, he was over there with Coach Malzahn whenever he was at Springdale High School during that time. And so they run Auburn's offense. They're going to have all the backs. They're going to do the zone read, and that's where number 11 is so effective. We'll also see Gunner Gundy, which is Coach Gundy at OSU's son. He's a little lefty. He's a freshman, not very big. They don't want to run him a lot because he only weighs about 130 pounds, but he's a good little left-handed. He throws the ball well. So we'll see 2 or 3 quarterbacks for them. They got a good tailback, and their offensive line is probably as good a line we've seen other than Bixby. I think Bixby's line's a little bit better, but I'd put them as second best line that we've faced this year in what they do. They're a big physical team. They're pretty young. They got a lot of sophomores and juniors playing. But they'll give us everything that we want and more.
Well, certainly the Roughers have a history with Stillwater in the playoffs. There's been some games that Muscogee's gone to Stillwater, maybe as the heavily favored team, and came out on the short end of the stick. I think I was talking with a Rougher coach's mom here just earlier this week, and they were talking about 1990 when the Roughers went to Stillwater and could have and should have won but didn't. And then, as I recall, Rafe, the last time the Roughers were in the playoffs, it was at Creek Nation Field, then Indian Bowl, and it was against Stillwater, and it wasn't a good night that time. So now it's time to turn the ship in the right direction and get the Roughers on to the victory in the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about the overall 6A playoff picture. Now, last time the Roughers went to playoffs, it was a 4-week trek to a gold ball. Mm-hmm. Now it's down to 3.
Well, it's 3. If you win the first week, we'll play then again next week. It could be a Friday or Saturday game. Hard to tell because this week the team that we would be playing, either Lawton or our Booker T, they play on Saturday at 2 due to Lawton shares their stadium, and Lawton Mac plays Guthrie Friday night. So they're playing a 2 o'clock game on Saturday. And so the winner of that, there's a good chance that then we could play on that following Saturday. Friday, we don't know. We won't find out that till Sunday. And again, it depends on who all wins. And then if you win that ball game, the semifinal, so that everybody has, with 6A 1 and 2 being separated, there's only 3 playoff games now, so that everybody's playing on championship weekend. They take the week of Thanksgiving off. Not to mention it's hard to find workers at places on Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, it is.
So those semifinal games were always tough to do anyway at that time. But now then they give a week off. It's almost like a Super Bowl type deal, to where you got 2 weeks to prepare and get the build up for it. And then you would have that on December the 4th, I believe, which would be a Friday night game, I believe.
Well, it should be an exciting trip through the playoffs. Take a look. There's a lot of teams. Any of these 8 teams are all capable of winning. When you get to the party, it was proven last year with Bixby, a 4th-place team in the district, just like Stillwater is, rolling through, picking up 3 wins, hosted at the gold ball. And I really think still, even though the Roughers are ranked number 1, it still has to go through Bixby.
Oh, it's the Bixby. There's no doubt it's the team to beat. We know that. They were at the start of the season. They were after we beat them, and they still are until somebody proves that they can beat them in the playoffs. They're 2-time defending state champions since they split the 6A divisions, and we know that that's what we've got to face. But right now, we're just worried about Stillwater. They give us plenty of problems. But, you look at that other side, and, they've got Putnam City West first round with Bixby. And then a game that I think might be the best matchup of all is Midwest City versus Sand Springs. I think that Sand Springs is going to surprise a lot of people. I really think our district has a great chance of going 4-0 again this year with the matchups they have. And you know, it kind of depends on how the health of some of Booker T's kids are going down to Lawton. But anyway, I think that our class, our district on the east here will do great during the playoff. Like I said, I do believe that Bixby is the team to beat, but I certainly hope that we're the team that does it.
Well, the Roughers are in the playoff picture, and that's what matters most now is just win one and then prepare for the next game. Before we get out of here, Coach, this new look, is this No Shave November for the playoffs?
It's No Shave November that started about middle of October. It's more laziness than anything.
Well, I know a lot of players like to bleach their hair, different color. Coach and I, we're going to stay with the
I've already
traditional
got the
color.
bleach. I've already got the gray.
We bleached ours out a long time ago, but hey, let's just keep this beard, keep it growing, and keep the Roughers winning in the playoffs.
That's all that matters.
Head coach Rafe Watkins, I'm Bill Huddleston. Our guest this week has been Jamari Davis, and we thank you for joining us here on TV 15 as we always talk Rougher football. And as we get out of here, let me remind you, as always, it's a great day to be a Rougher.